our Creative Europe project is called Festivals of the Future, and it has 5 partners: myself, Transform in Leeds, Mir Festival in Athens, Short Festival in Rome, and Parallel in Marseille in France. And essentially we came together through the similarities that we had as organisations and as people, I suppose, and also because of the shared challenges we had. We're all small to mid-scale, and we're all flexible enough to do things differently. So the idea was to come together and really think ambitiously about how we could do things differently rather than following the tried and tested. The way in which in a sort of practical nuts and bolts sense, the way that the project is set up is that we come together for meetings between ourselves. Sometimes those go on for a couple of days. We travel to other festivals with unusual models or something that sets them apart that we're looking to interrogate. We come together practically on sort of project-based aspects, which include commissioning together across. We have one commission this year, and we're coming together on another commission to do with parties next year. And we also are working in association with some other festivals across Europe and beyond. So everywhere from Stockholm and Switzerland all the way to Egypt. So we visit those festivals individually and then bring back our learning into the group. It's a 2-year project. We're about 1 year in, and actually, I think the other partners would agree, but it's beginning to feel comfortable. You know, I feel like we've really got into a mode of being with each other where we've got a bit of a shorthand. It feels very sad that there's maybe only a year left. So it's really a big thing for us to think about how that network continues. And of course, with COVID in the middle of things, it means that there has had to be a bit of movement. So for example, Fusebox in Texas, we attended virtually, but we are hoping that we will attend physically moving forward. The relationship that we've created already can't be undone, and we're all creative people. So I imagine there's going to be legacy, whatever happens. But as I said, I'm excited to be in the middle of it right now. So I think it's really invaluable that it's a project with partners across Europe rather than just working in the UK. I talked a lot earlier about the similarities, what brought us together. But of course, what's really important about the project as well is difference. And I think that one of the things that I've been able to get from the project this far, because I'm the Scottish partner, there's also an English partner, is to understand our own context and our own sense of Britishness, I suppose. I think it's really healthy to understand that in order to navigate and have fruitful relationships across Europe. So in that sense, that's learning that you don't get unless you're within a European network. I mean, now more than ever, I think when we applied to do this project, we were talking about turbulent times. And indeed, we were in turbulent times, but little did we know. So this idea that we think really widely and intensely about relationships between Britain and Europe. The great thing about this project on a really simple level is that within the tumult of the everyday, as small to mid-scale organisations who face the challenge of sustainability, ambition versus resource, the creating the space for the big conversations and the future thinking can go by the wayside. So what's beautiful is that we've carved out this space, and not only it's not a situation where we're invited into a framework in order to discuss. It's up to us to create that framework that's fit for purpose, and as such, it's a really safe space. So that has been really invaluable. I think what's interesting about that is that a lot of the conversations that we were having when we were considering the future of festivals, the future in general, a lot of that work that we did pre-COVID has become so useful now that we are where we are. So one of the questions we had was about digital approaches, about new audiences, a new generation of audiences who would be interested in the notion of what did it mean to have festival on digital platforms. All of these things we were kind of asking ourselves at the time, and it's become incredibly useful now. We always talk about everything that we do when we come into that space having ripple effects when we come out of that space. I mean, that is what it's for, and all of us are brought together by really a belief in the artists that we're working with. We're all just there to serve a sector, to serve a community. And it's that community that we want to feel the ripple effect. So whether that's us using our new networks to help the movement of work, a lot of what we talk about within those spaces, and something that's really important to me, is thinking about how to embed artists within your organisation and remain flexible to the ever-evolving needs of a sector. And I think that a lot of the thinking that was done in that space has come out and has already had there's already been things that we've put in place and actioned based on the first series of conversations that we've had. One of my favourite moments is probably where we came together in Scotland, and Take Me Somewhere hosted, I suppose, a kind of residency space for us within Cove Park, and we invited Arica to join us, an organisation within Scotland that I really respect. And a really fond memory that I have is there was a kind of kinship. We're all in the kitchen, we're all making dinner. There's a kind of light-hearted, familial kind of space that we've created for ourselves that lasts only so long before we're sitting down and back into the deep thinking. And that was sort of effortless and easy and enjoyable. And a lot of what we spoke about within that moment was about it was about care. I think one of the things that was brought in from Arica's side of things was this notion of curate, the notion that a curate holds the space of a church and tries to look after anyone who enters the space. So this really nice thinking between us as just people who hold space. It's more important than ever to think about how organisations come together when they are perhaps not physically with each other. So where COVID meets what we were already considering in terms of climate change, how we can work together across borders without actually travelling, and also how we can support the movement or exchange of artists across borders while also considering climate change.